Stop scrolling right now, because what I'm about to reveal isn't just another dating tip. It's the brutal truth about why 97% of men fail with women, while the other 3% make them obsessed. You've been lied to. You've been told it's about looks, money, or cheesy pickup lines. But the real answer? It's buried deep in her psychology. An instinctual trigger so powerful, once you activate it, she'll chase you. Most men will never learn this. They'll keep begging for attention, drowning in rejection, while the elite few who understand this secret get exactly what they want. Without games, without manipulation, without selling their soul. This isn't theory. This is science. This is how attraction really works at the primal level. And in the next few minutes, I'm handing you the key. But only if you're ready to stop being average. Only if you're ready to become the kind of man women can't ignore. The clock's ticking. The question is, are you finally ready to listen? Because let me be clear, by the end of this video, you'll either walk away with the missing piece that changes everything, or you'll keep making the same mistakes that leave you invisible. Your choice. But if you're still watching, good. That means there's hope. Now lean in. This is where it gets real. Let's talk about what it really means to make a woman feel understood. Because most men get this catastrophically wrong. You see, understanding isn't about nodding along while she speaks, waiting for your turn to talk. It's not about problem solving either. Women don't come to you for fixes unless they ask. Her feel in her bones that you see her, not just the surface, but the hidden currents beneath. And when you can do that, that's when she starts to look at you differently. That's when you stop being just another guy and become someone she can't shake from her mind. Think about it. When was the last time someone truly listened to you, not just to your words, but to the meaning behind them, to the things you didn't say out loud? That's rare. And for women, it's even rarer. Most men are so busy performing, trying to impress, to entertain, to prove themselves, that they never actually pause and witness her. But here's the truth. A woman will forget what you said, but she will never forget how you made her feel. And if you can make her feel understood in a way no one else does, she will associate that feeling with you. And once that happens, she's yours. Now, how do you do this? It starts with listening. Not the passive, half-attentive listening most people do, but active listening. That means you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. You're absorbing her words, yes, but also her tone, her pauses, the things she emphasizes. You're watching her body language, the way she looks away when she's uncomfortable, the way her voice softens when she's vulnerable. And then when the moment is right, you reflect it back to her. Not in some robotic, therapist way, but with genuine insight. You say you're fine, but I can tell this really bothers you. You laugh when you talk about it, but I don't think it's funny to you. I think it hurts. That's the kind of observation that cuts through the noise. That's the kind of thing that makes her pause and think. Intimacy. And that's a bond far deeper than surface level charm. Now let's talk about the flip side. What happens when you don't make her feel understood? She'll withdraw. She'll close off. She'll start giving you short answers, stop sharing her thoughts, because why would she? If every time she opens up she feels like she's talking to a brick wall, she'll stop trying. And once that happens, the connection is already dying. But if you're the man who gets her, who makes her feel like her thoughts, her emotions, her complexities are valued, that's the man she can't walk away from. So ask yourself, are you truly listening, or are you just waiting to speak? Are you seeing her, or are you seeing your own reflection in her? Because the difference between those two things is the difference between being forgotten and being unforgivable. And if you want to be the latter, then start here. Start with understanding. The rest will follow. Now go. Listen like it matters, because it does. Let's address something fundamental about women, and men for that matter, that most people misunderstand entirely. Safety. Not the bland, neutered version of safety that modern culture peddles, but real, primal safety. The kind that doesn't just make her comfortable, It makes her come alive, because here's the truth. A woman who feels truly safe with you won't just stick around, she'll flourish. But if you get this wrong, if you confuse safety with passivity, you'll drain the attraction right out of the relationship. And then you'll be left wondering why she's bored, why she's distant, why she's looking elsewhere. So let's break, how does he know that? But here's the critical part. You can't fake this. If you're just mimicking empathy as some kind of seduction tactic, she will sense it. Women have an almost supernatural ability to detect inauthenticity. So this isn't about manipulation, it's about cultivating real awareness. It's about training yourself to pay attention, not just to her, but to people in general. The more you practice truly seeing others, the more naturally this will come to you. And the more naturally it comes, the more powerful it becomes. And then there's this. Understanding her isn't just about listening in the moment, it's about remembering. The little things, the way she takes her coffee, the story she told you about her childhood that she didn't think you'd retain, the book she mentioned loving 3 months ago. When you remember these details, it signals something profound, that she matters to you. Not as a conquest, not as an ego boost, but as a person. And that distinction is everything, because the man who remembers is the man who stands out in a world of forgettable interactions. But here's where most men fail. They think understanding is about agreement. It's not. You don't have to share every opinion she has. In fact, sometimes the most powerful form of understanding is respectful disagreement. If she senses you're just mirroring her to please her, she'll lose respect for you. Real understanding means engaging with her mind, not just placating her emotions. It means being willing to challenge her in a way that shows you take her thoughts seriously. I see why you'd think that, but have you considered that kind of exchange creates intellectu shake under pressure, but that doesn't mean crossing it is boring. The thrill is in knowing you could fall, but trusting that you won't. That's the energy you want to cultivate. She needs to feel that you're unshakable, yes, but not sterile. That you're reliable, but not predictable. That you're her anchor, but also her adventure. And achieving that balance is where most men fail. So how do you do it? Start with emotional consistency. Women, people really, are hyper-attuned to incongruence. If you're warm one moment and cold the next, if your mood swings dictate how you treat her, she'll never feel secure. But if she knows, no matter what's happening in the world or in your head, that you're the same man at your core, that's safety. That's trust. And trust is the bedrock of desire. But consistency doesn't mean being flat. It means having a baseline of strength that doesn't waver, even when you're playful, even when you're challenging her, even when you're pushing her out of her comfort zone. Next, leadership. And I don't mean this in some domineering, chest-thumping sense. I mean the ability to steer the ship when the waters get rough. Most men panic under pressure. They freeze, they lash out, they defer. A woman can smell that hesitation from a mile away, but if you're the kind of man who stays composed, who makes decisions with clarity, who takes responsibility when things go wrong, that's safety. That's the kind of man she can lean on. And leaning is key, because if she can't lean, she'll never fully let go. And if she never lets go, she'll never fully feel. But here's the critical part. Safety isn't just about how you handle crises. It's about how you handle her. When she's upset, when she's venting, when she's testing you, and yes, women test men, your job isn't to fix it, to fold to it. Your job is to hold space, to let her emotions wash over you without drowning in them. Most men either crumble under a woman's emotions or try to shut them down. Both are failures. The strong man stands firm. He doesn't take her anger personally. He doesn't buckle under her tears. He doesn't scramble to placate her when she's being irrational. He remains steady, and in that steadiness, she finds peace. That's safety. Now, the flip side, if safety tips into boredom, you're dead in the water. Safety can't mean the absence of edge. It can't mean avoiding conflict or never rocking the boat. That's not in the storm, but never the calm that kills the spark. Let's talk about mystery, that elusive quality that separates forgettable interactions from magnetic attraction. Because here's something you need to understand. Familiarity doesn't breed contempt, it breeds indifference. And indifference is the death knell of desire. Women aren't drawn to men they've fully figured out. They're drawn to men who keep them curious, who leave room for discovery. But this isn't about playing games or being deliberately obscure. Real mystery isn't a tactic. It's a natural byproduct of depth, of a life lived with purpose beyond her. And when you grasp this distinction, everything changes. Think about the last time you were truly captivated by someone. It wasn't the person who laid all their cards on the table immediately, was it? No, it was your stability with spontaneity. To be the man who's solid but never stale, who's dependable but never dull, who makes her feel secure but never suffocated. That's the sweet spot. That's where desire lives. So ask yourself, are you a safe harbor or are you a stagnant pond? Are you the calm in her storm or are you just calm? Because the difference is everything. The difference between being her rock and being her paperweight, between a man she respects and a man she pities, between a relationship that lasts and one that limps along until she finds someone who understands this distinction. Master this. Make her feel safe, but never at the cost of your edge. Make her feel secure, but never at the cost of her excitement. That's the balance. That's the art. When you're together, yet never fully predictable. It's in the way you might hold her gaze a second longer than expected, or how you can be playful one moment and intense the next. It's in the stories you tell that hint at depths you don't fully explain, the skills you have that she didn't know about, the quiet confidence that suggests there's more to you than meets the eye. Consider this. Mystery is ultimately about maintaining your own sense of self. The man who loses himself in a relationship, who molds himself to fit her expectations, who abandons his edges to avoid rocking the boat, that man becomes predictable, and predictability is the antithesis of mystery. But the man who stays true to his values, who isn't afraid to disagree, who maintains his own opinions and passions, that man remains intriguing because he's not a mirror reflecting her back at herself. He's a separate, dynamic individual she gets to explore. Now let's address the fear that drives men to abandon mystery. The fear of losing her if they don't constantly prove their worth. This is where most men sabotage themselves. They think attraction is built through relentless pursuit, through demonstrating their value at every turn, but attraction doesn't work that way. It's not about what you give, it's about what you inspire her to feel. And nothing inspires feeling like the space to imagine, to wonder, to project her own desires onto the canvas of your mystery. When you try too hard to define yourself for her, you rob her of that opportunity. You make yourself finite when you should remain infinite in her mind. So ask yourself, are you someone who can be fully known in? Being authentic. It means understanding that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every detail needs to be disclosed. Let her discover you. Let there be things about you that only time and closeness can uncover. Next, maintain a sense of your own autonomy. The moment a woman senses your world revolves entirely around her, the mystery evaporates. She doesn't want to be your entire universe. She wants to be drawn into yours. That means having passions, pursuits, and a sense of purpose that exist independently of her. When she asks what you've been up to, you should have something interesting to say. Not because you're performing for her, but because you're genuinely engaged with life. A man who's constantly available, who has no interests beyond pleasing her, isn't mysterious. He's transparent, and transparency is the enemy. Actually mean, at its core, it's the absence of threat, but not just physical threat, emotional threat, psychological threat. A woman needs to know on some deep, instinctual level that she can be vulnerable around you without fear of betrayal, mockery, or abandonment. That's the foundation. But here's where men screw up. They think safety is about being nice, about never disagreeing, never pushing back, never imposing boundaries, and that's how you end up in the friend zone. Or worse, in a relationship where she loses respect for you. Because safety without strength isn't safety at all. It's weakness, and weakness is repulsive. Real safety is a paradox. It's stability and unpredictability at once. It's the calm in the storm, but also the spark in the quiet. Think of it like this. A sturdy bridge is safe because it of intrigue. Then there's the art of restraint, particularly in communication. In an age of constant connectivity, where most men bombard women with texts, double messages, and instant reactions, the man who understands the power of pause stands out. This isn't about ignoring her or playing hard to get. It's about recognizing that space allows anticipation to build. When you don't immediately respond to every message, when you're not always the one initiating, you create room for her to wonder, to miss you, to reach out. That's the alchemy of mystery, absence that makes your presence more compelling. But here's the crucial nuance. Mystery isn't about withholding affection or being emotionally unavailable. That's not mystery. That's avoidance. And it's just as unattractive as neediness. The balance lies in being fully present. The one who revealed themselves gradually, who made you lean in to learn more. That's the power of mystery. It creates tension. Not the toxic kind, but the electric charge of possibility. And that tension is the lifeblood of attraction. Without it, relationships become flat, predictable, and ultimately disposable. But with it, you become someone she can't shake from her thoughts. So how do you cultivate this? First, understand that mystery begins with boundary.